Let's start. Good day, everyone. My name is Sina Moradi, CIB Program Manager and Postdoctoral Researcher of Construction Management at Tampere University in Finland. I would like to welcome everyone to this event. This is CIB's Best Doctoral Dissertation Award competition. It is really exciting to have you all here and listen to 6-minute presentations of the shortlisted applicants. I would like to introduce our judges very quickly. So Professor Billy Hare, a Professor of Construction Management from School of Computing, Engineering and Built Environment at Glasgow Caledonian University in Scotland. Then Kazimir McGregor, Principal Social Scientist from Brands in New Zealand. And Keith Hampson, who has not yet joined us, but I hope he will join soon. Keith is immediate past president of CIB and CEO of Australia's Sustainable Built Environment National Research Centre. And then I would like also to introduce our finalists quickly. Dr. Naomi Borg from RMIT student chapter, Dr. Luca Rampini from Politecnico di Milano student chapter, Dr. Samudaya Nanayakkara from Western Sydney University student chapter, Dr. Norhan Hesham from University of Salford student chapter, and Dr. Buthini Yinigattara, I hope I pronounced it correctly, from Western Sydney University student chapter. So, yes, and Professor Keith Hampson just joined us. Welcome, Keith. So we are about to start with 6-minute presentations of our finalists. And let's start with...
Okay, can you see that?
Yes, yes, we can. Let's start.
Okay, hello, my name is Norhan Hesham, and this is a very brief account on my dissertation, doctoral research on social capital networks for grassroots economies, particularly in a very small city called Damietta in the global south. And this is where this lovely photo was taken. So let me start there. Damietta has more than 40,000 small workshops, all working in the furniture industry, as we can see in the photo, inherited through different generations of the same population. And in every sense of the way, Damietta is actually a competitive economic cluster. It has an accumulation of social capital networks, and it faces some challenges, particularly regarding climate change and development pressures. Those challenges can be summarized as sea level rise, as Damietta is on the verge of the Nile River with the Mediterranean. And it faces some economic pressures as well of a mega project that is currently funded by the government. And it's quite controversial as it's sucking sort of the economy out of the local workshops in the city. And in that sense, this project is marginalizing the local economies and the local community and taking away their sort of current economic opportunities. The silver lining here is that Damietta has a very strong social capital network between its residents. It's gone on for decades, and it has led to Damietta being a furniture hub, both regional, national, and in the Arab area. And it has more than $1 billion turnover and contributes more than 300 million annually, that being a very small city in Egypt. If we look at a map of Damietta, we can see that this is the city where this is the mega project in question. And if we simply overlay sea level rise on top of that, we can see a very interesting picture is that the future of the economy of the city is actually the local economies, while the mega project will be underwater in 50 years. That brings me to the research aim, which is to provide geospatial tools that link social capital and spatial interactions. And that is to provide the main impact of the research being evidence of the value of the SMEs network in the city and making sure that this value is recognized by decision makers to provide support for alternative routes for development through a quantitative data set, a reliable one, and providing as well a methodological precedent that can be used for different industries, for different cities in the global south, and for different contexts that have similar areas and similar contexts. So just very quickly on theoretical underpinning, I looked into multiple different theories: social capital, Porter's competitive advantage, and different versions of the network theory, and linking them all up together in different aspects. And it was quite surprising how they actually link up, even though they are quite different in terms of context. And understanding those links and how they relate to the local economy of the city. I'm not going to go into much detail on that, but that led to the research approach here, which is basically built on the main three aspects of social capital, being trust, networks, and norms, and looking at the supply chain for the industry and how that relates to social capital, and particularly looking at the spatial patterns in the city in terms of urban distribution and the scale of the enterprises being micro and small enterprises. And all of those were applied in different methodological tools, including qualitative and quantitative ones, namely observations, a survey with geospatial mapping of the network, and semi-structured interviews. And that formed the theoretical and spatial framework that was used to analyze and create the output, being the geospatial mapping of the social capital within the city. Very quickly as well on methodology, I'm not going to go into much detail here, but just to mention that the methodological tools were applied in multiple stages to make sure that there is an exploratory study as well as evaluative study of the network within the city. So understanding the network and then evaluating its impact within the industry, which led to the main findings being three main aspects of the network: understanding the qualitative nature of the network being the patterns, understanding the network distribution. So both.
Nurhan, sorry to interrupt. 1 minute left.
Yeah, sure. I'm almost done. So understanding the network patterns, understanding the network distribution, and then overlaying that on the spatial aspect, so the spatial distribution of the city. And that brings us to the crown jewel sort of the findings from my research, which is this map that we can see here with the nodes and the connections between them within the industry. And if we start overlaying sea level rise, as we mentioned earlier, we can actually start recommending different aspects for the development of the city. I'm not going to go much into detail as well on the recommendations, but the two main recommendations were for decision makers to prioritize the local economies within the planning of the city, and for the city planners to actually capitalize on the existing urban routes and connections between the enterprises in order to plan Damietta as Damietta, not just as another urban setting. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is that this research was extremely multifaceted, to the point that we applied for AHRC funding 200K, and we started looking at different aspects of the city and how Damietta fits within the global context of the furniture industry. And that's all from my side, maybe 20 seconds beyond time. Thank you, Sina.
Thank you very much, Nurhan, for your interesting presentation. So Naomi, if you are ready, you can go next. If not, I can ask Samudaya to go next.
I can try. Yes. Perfect. Yes. Thank you. We got there.
Thank you.
So I'll start now, Sina. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Naomi Borg from RMIT University, and it's very exciting to be here today to present to you a bit about my research, which looked at the career resilience of project management practitioners, and it was an exploratory study. So my research really focused on understanding the role that career resilience has in assisting project management practitioners in overcoming both general challenges as well as shocks such as the COVID-19 pandemic, which to this day we know is still affecting the way that we work. For the purposes of this research, Seibert, Kramer, and Heslin's 2016 definition of career resilience was used. Here, the concept is basically the capacity to continue to make progress towards your current career goals with the resources you have already developed to keep calm and to carry on. From the increased globalization as well as technological advancements and then the COVID-19 pandemic, this has made projects larger, more complex, and more stressful. Also, the increased projectification of work and projected skill shortages and high levels of turnover emphasize the importance of career resilient PM practitioners. So the overarching aim of my research was to investigate the career resilience of PM practitioners and the factors that foster it. I looked at this both in a general work context sense, and I actually undertook the research while COVID was happening. So I also looked at COVID-19 as a common shock. I did have 5 research questions, and I did use the mixed methodology where I used quantitative and qualitative data collection and analysis techniques, which I will go through in more detail. In terms of my methodology, the research applied an explanatory mixed method sequential design comprising of a large quantitative phase followed by a qualitative phase. So this ensured triangulation as a validation strategy and in-depth investigation of career resilience. As you can see there, the first stage was a qualitative systematic literature review stage, and this was really to identify what research was out there and to see where the gaps were. The second stage was a quantitative stage, and this comprised an online survey composed of existing proven scales used to measure and quantify the variables in the proposed model. And lastly, stage 3 was a qualitative stage, which was broken up in phase A and phase B, and this included open-ended questions which looked at challenges that they experienced in a general sense and then specifically to COVID-19. To ensure that the breadth of career resilience research was detected, a systematic literature review was undertaken. To analyze the data gathered, a summative content analysis technique was applied. This is a flexible approach for the analysis of textual data, which allows the comparison and interpretation of key content, concepts, and keywords. As a result of the changing nature of work and enhanced demands of the work environments, including challenges of COVID-19, career resilience is a necessary protective mechanism. There were 3 evident gaps that really stood out from the current research. 1 was a lack of interaction between individual and contextual factors. 2 was a lack of research in the project professional context. And 3 was a lack of consideration of years of experience and any gender differences. So my research really looked at closing these gaps. The proposed conceptual model that I developed derives its theoretical basis on the job demands resources theory, as well as the psychological interactional perspective. The JDR theory allows for a focus on both job demands and job resources, and the individual's role in altering these to respond to arising challenges. The interactional psychological perspective explains how individual characteristics interact with situational factors and are moderated by previous experience. These theories help to investigate the career resilience of PM practitioners by considering the elements of time, person, and context. An online survey using pre-existing valid and reliable scales was used to measure the variables in the proposed model. A hierarchical multiple regression analysis identified that age and sex were both significant predictors of career resilience. Only career adaptability and individual resilience were statistically significant predictors of career resilience. And you can see that was my model there that I developed as part of stage 2. Data was collected through the open-ended questions in the survey for a more detailed qualitative inquiry for stages 3A and 3B. Stage 3 gained insight into the work-related challenges faced by PM practitioners and the perceived organizational support from career resilience from a general sense and a COVID-specific sense. I then used conventional content analysis technique to allow codes to emerge directly from the study's responses. So findings classified main challenges in 4 levels: the individual level, and these included things such as the precarious nature of work and professional growth; the project level, so stakeholder communication issues was quite a big one; organizational level, organizational politics and gender inequality challenges; and from the market level, economic conditions hampering opportunities. In terms of perceived resilience during COVID, there were 6 main themes that emerged. 4 were related to respondents feeling that they had been resilient, and 2 were related to them feeling they weren't resilient. So
Naomi,
a few things. Yes.
Sorry, 1 minute left.
Perfect. So, for example, having a positive mindset and adapting to new ways of working made individuals feel like they were resilient, but there were also the uncertainty and anxiety associated with the COVID-19 shock that made them feel like they didn't have the career resilience they needed. The findings suggest that while some employers provide support mechanisms to enhance the career resilience of their workforce, there is still room for improvement. So there was a lot of keeping connected and creating a stimulating work environment. But individuals noted that there was a lack of training and development opportunities, as well as inadequate management support. The research develops career resilience knowledge in the context of PM practitioners' career, which is currently an under-researched area. It also makes practical recommendations. So, for example, PM practitioners are recommended to undertake continuous improvement and embrace challenges as opportunities. PM organizations are recommended to provide support and feedback channels to continually improve management and organizational policies, as well as provide employees with training resources to develop career resilience. I also developed quite a few publications from my study, so I've just listed them there. And thank you very much. And apologies for the technical error at the start.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Naomi, for your presentation. Okay, let's continue with Samudaya.
Hi, Sina. Can you allow me to share?
Yes, I will just do that. Yes, now you are a co-host.
Okay. Hope you can see the correct screen.
Yes, we can see. Thank you. Let's start.
Hi, I'm Samudaya Nanayakkara, representing Western Sydney University. My PhD research title was developing a blockchain-based digital procurement framework for construction supply chain. It aimed to mitigate payment-related issues in the construction supply chain through the application of blockchain and smart contract technologies. Construction supply chain are significantly different from the other industries. Construction supply chain are typically located in different geographical locations with the short-term relationships. General supply chain have a narrow major value addition area supported by well-established financial sources. On the other hand, construction supply chain involve spread multi-layer value addition. The distance between the finance source and the value addition layers are substantial. The unique nature of the construction supply chain creates various issues. Payment, trust, transparencies are significant. Blockchain is the distributed data storage mechanism without a central authority introduced with the development of Industry 4.0. In blockchain, all transactions can be verified and the records are immutable. Blockchain can offer many features and benefits, including higher security, trust, transparency, eliminate third parties, reduce costs, increase autonomy, and many others. Considering all those facts, this research aimed to develop a blockchain-based digital procurement framework to enhance the trust, transparency, and efficiency of payment handling in construction supply chain transaction by developing a smart contract-enabled solution. This aim was achieved by completing 6 research objectives with hybrid research methodology with a qualitative methodological choice. At each step, this research discovered and produced novel insight and outcome that contribute significantly to the domain. Therefore, I will present each research methodology step with the key outcomes. First 2 objectives were critical reviewing the construction supply chain and blockchain technologies. Construction supply chain review identify payment-related issues such as non-payment, partial payment, payment delays, trust transfers, and others. And blockchain technology review identify how suitability it is. Research objective was design construction supply chain model for developing innovative blockchain and smart contract-based construction supply chain solution. It was achieved by developing conceptual data model and creating detailed refined data models. Data collection to 5 case studies. Key outcomes, there were 15 conceptual data models. You can see part of it with the limited space, and 113 business glossaries with input, output, and other details, and 15 refined data models for the construction supply chain. You can see the blue color in the refined data in the slightly, and 113 improved business glossaries with the new addition in the green color, referencing in the yellow and blue color challenges. Then a blockchain test rig were conducted to review the widely recognized 23 blockchain platform and develop a simple sample smart contract and other parameters to select the most suitable platform to the smart multi-criteria decision-making techniques. Based on that part, novel methodology was selecting the blockchain platform was developed. Then applied that methodology, Hyperledger Fabric was selected as the most suitable blockchain platform for this research. Based on the previous data model and previous steps, 5 blockchain-based data models were developed. You can see sample data models here, purple color with the enabling blockchain-related transaction. And for blockchain-based data modeling, there was no model techniques available at that time. Therefore, I developed a novel concept with the novel notation as an addition for the grain and Sharon notation style. And entity relationship diagram developed for the blockchain ledger. So it's enabled to develop the blockchain ledger structure. And by sequence diagram developed to identify the complex scenario like transaction related to construction payment through the cryptocurrencies. Objective 4 and 5 were achieved by developing a software architecture, system design, and developing a system module shown in the diagram. Key outcome are system architectures and ERC20-based stable cryptocurrency and blockchain ledger structure, over 40 backend smart contract. So quantifying that one had over 15,000 line of code. It's equal to over 300 A4 pages equal logics and commands. And compares front-end web portal and APIs to communicate with the other systems and integrate with the other enterprise solutions.
Samudaya, and 1 minute left.
Yeah. Finally, blockchain platform was tested and validated through the 6 industry expert and the test cases. This is the sample test case. So there were 93 test cases and validation outcome like that. And this research mainly contributed 5 theoretical contribution to the knowledge, hybrid research methodology, data collection techniques for the complex business groceries, novel notation for blockchain-enabled data models, blockchain-enabled data modeling techniques, and empirically validate the benefit from the blockchain-enabled digital procurement. And those are the additional contributing industry practices. These are my PhD research publication with over 750 citations up to now. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Samudaya, for your presentation. Okay, let's continue with Luca Rampini from Politecnico di Milano student chapter.
Thank you, Sina. I will share my screen now.
Yes, I hope you are already co-host. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, screen, yes, but not in the, now we can see it.
No, it's in a full presentation mode. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So hello, everyone. I'm Luca Rampini, and today I'm going to present you my PhD thesis about artificial intelligence enhances digital asset management. It is well documented that the construction sector faces a significant productivity issue. In fact, the majority of projects are completed behind schedule and over budget. And in particular, I want to stress that 80% of the asset overall cost is spent during the use phase. Therefore, increasing the efficiency in managing our assets is crucial if we want to have a more sustainable and productive built environment. In the past decade, emerging technologies in the sector have shown promising potential to boost productivity by advancing digitalization and automation. My research specifically focused on exploring the potential value that artificial intelligence can bring to asset management. Consequently, my research questions are as follows. The first one is, what is the level of AI readiness in the industry and how can it be measured? The second one is, how can AI techniques contribute to increasing the value of asset management? And the third one, how does AI integrate with other technology of the Construction 4.0 framework? This is how the thesis is structured to answer those questions. And the first question about the AI readiness, yeah?
We didn't say anything.
Okay. The first question about the AI readiness is answered by introducing the AI readiness index. This involved defining a tailored metric using the technological, organizational, and environmental framework introduced by NASA for technology readiness assessment. It was tested through a survey of more than 50 experts and practitioners in the field. And moreover, to understand the potential value brought by AI, identifying relevant issues in asset management that can be enhanced with the use of AI. For each of these challenges, I proposed possible solutions and demonstrated them in specific use cases. Specifically, we have AI for strategic asset management, where I leveraged AI to extract information from many data. We have AI for technical asset management, where I used AI in combination with IoT sensors to create a so-called virtual sensor, which is a mathematical model that estimates phenomena difficult or impossible to measure with physical sensors alone. Third, we have AI for operational AM, where the lack of data is usually hindering daily operations. And we specifically see how synthetic images, which are digital images produced by a graphic engine, can increase the accuracy of an object detection by 10%. Due to time constraints, we'll see in more details two of these contributions, but you can find all of them in my publication. The first use case I show you is about a decision support system. This research was conducted in 4 main steps. First, we used the Chanet database from the Lombardy region, which includes more than 1 million residential assets with geometrical and energy-related information, especially the European Energy Performance Certificates, EPC. In the first stage, we cleaned the dataset and we grouped the assets in 56 sets according to the period of construction and the energy labels. In particular, given a specific year of construction, we have assets within the worst EPC, which is class G, and the best EPC, class A. In the second step, within each set, we use the AI to cluster assets with similar building technologies. And here the main assumption, consider that given the year of construction, an asset after retrofit will move from the current EPC class to the best EPC class, which is the class A. In the first step, we estimated the energy savings post-retrofit based on the previous assumption with a Monte Carlo simulation. And finally, we provide a general overview of the potential saving of the portfolio. Here's the overview of the portfolio. So by introducing some arbitrary condition based on the number of elements in the cluster and the average energy savings, we can see which are the assets worth to retrofit. Surprisingly, the yellow clusters on the top right corner, which represent the asset more convenient to retrofit, are not the oldest one, but those built in the time frame from 1961 to 1976. In conclusion, without the necessity of a complex energy model, and thanks to AI, it was possible to analyze the entire residential built environment of Lombardy and obtain a supportive tool for making better decisions. The second use case introduces synthetic images to improve performance in recognizing objects for facility management. And the process here leverages the 3D CAD models that are already available in our sector. I use these models inside a graphic engine, Blender, to create realistic rendered images, changing different conditions such as lights, materials, camera poses, and so on. But most importantly, it was possible to extract YOLO-style labels automatically to train the object detection models. The results clearly show that using a dataset increased with synthetic images, the object detection model reaches better performance and score an average precision higher than 10% of the model using only real images. In conclusion, the case studies illustrate various ways in which AI can add value to the construction industry. Answering to the second, yes?
Sorry, 1 minute left.
1 minute, okay. Answering to the second and further research questions, if we represent this value addition in a matrix, in the first box, we have products that humans can create and already exist. Here, AI doesn't add much value. The opportunities for improvement lie in the other 3 categories. In the second box, we have more consistent and efficient processes thanks to AI, as we have seen in the case of synthetic images. In the third box, we have innovative products. AI can lead to the creation of new products, especially if we combine them with the other technologies, like in the case of virtual sensors. And finally, we have enhanced processes. AI can facilitate new and improved processes that are challenging or nearly impossible for humans, as seen in the case study of the decision support system. Summing up, the thesis answered all the research questions. And of course, if you want to know more about the cited use case, you can find all the information in the publications. Here is the short list of journal publications, but you can check also the complete list looking at my profile in ResearchGate, Google Scholar, or Scopus. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luca. Thank you very much for the great presentation. Okay, let's continue with the last but not least presentation by Buttini, please.
Thank you, Selena. Let me share the screen. Okay, I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Buttini Ginikaddara, representing Western Sydney University, to talk about my PhD research, developing a skill profile prediction model for typologies of offsite construction. I'm really grateful to my supervisory panel, Professor Srinath Pereira, Associate Professor Ying-Ping Feng, and Associate Professor Payam Rahanasikawat, along with the Center for Smart Modern Construction Industry Partners and my data providers. Well, What will happen to construction jobs if buildings are made in a factory? Will we need the same number of bricklayers, carpenters, and even professionals, architects, engineers, and project managers if we were to make buildings in a factory? And won't an assembly line worker or a production manager from a factory be more suitable for construction? This was the original research problem, which we tried to find solutions through this research. Construction has always been considered as one of the least industrialized, least digitalized industries. It suffocates from skill shortage, poor labor productivity, high site wastage, which leads to less sustainability, and also health and safety risks. All these issues have more and more led construction towards off-site constructed buildings, where we see more technology involvement, where we see exoskeletons, advanced robotics, Internet of Things, and the like coming into play in construction jobs. So how this paradigm shift from on-site to off-site will change construction skills was not known. So we came up with the research aim to develop a skill profile prediction model for typologies of off-site construction. To achieve this research aim, we had 5 research objectives. Let me take you through them one after the other. So the first research objective was to define off-site construction and then develop a typology of off-site construction. So to develop the typology, we first looked at literature, and then using case study-based literature review and also iterative Delphi process to get expert opinion and validate the typology, we came up with the typology of 2 predominantly off-site construction types. That's the 2 categories are non-volumetric and volumetric. Under non-volumetric, we have components, panels, and then foldable structures. These foldable structures are more futuristic, and in the later stages of the research, we found that there are no realistic case studies. So later on, we had to leave this as it is, as a theoretical concept. But under the volumetric categories, we have pods, modules, and complete buildings. So once the typology was developed, the second research objective was to classify skills related to off-site construction. So I looked at the skill lists available in the Australian Bureau of Statistics, literature, and collected data from 13 case studies to derive at the master list of on-site and off-site skills. This master list consists of 67 skills under 6 different skill categories. So now we have the typology and the skill classification. So the next step was to combine these 2 in a conceptual way at first, and then to develop the prediction models. So the conceptual model for skill prediction, which we had at the very early stages of the research, was something like this, where we connected the offsite construction percentage with skill quantity per area. And then we collected data from 13 case studies. As I mentioned earlier, you don't see the foldable structure anymore, but the 5 case studies were 5 offsite construction types were taken forward. And as you can see how the skill quantities are already varying. The next step was to develop the prediction models. To develop the prediction model, we had to find a suitable methodology, and a rigorous process was conducted to identify the most suitable prediction model development method. After this selection procedure, we identified that quasi-Poisson model and a regression analysis was the most beneficial way to develop the prediction model using case study-based data. So these are the prediction models which we developed for 2 predominant offsite construction types, non-volumetric under panels and volumetric under modules, and the skill variations for on-site and off-site, and also the 6 different skill categories are evident here. And the skill numbers were measured using man-hours per square meter unit of measurement. And you can see how the skill quantities have been different in quantities, as well as the requirements, emerging skills different in the different skill categories. So the final research objective was to develop a prototype and also validate it using an expert forum. This prototype was presented in the mode of a mobile application, and this is the user interface of its homepage. And if you input data of related to the offsite construction type and its percentage of offsite construction, the prototype or the skills predictor gives you the skill prediction in terms of man-hours. So for this example, the output shows how the skill variation occurs for a predominantly panelized building of 2000 square meter. The skill variations are happening. So our initial hypothesis was that this kind of...
1 minute left.
Thanks, Ina, for it. So our initial hypothesis was that based on the complexities of buildings, skills might vary, and it was proven using this skills predictor. The contributions to knowledge and practice through this PhD research was developing the typology. As we know, there are a plethora of types in offsite construction. So the typology, skill classification, the skills predictor, and the methodology itself is the contribution to knowledge and practice. So these are our research publications, 11 publications, including 5 journal articles and 3 conference papers. Thank you for your time, and thank you, CIB, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I would like to thank you all our shortlisted applicants for their great presentations. Now, I will create a breakout room in which judges and me will have a private discussion to select the winner, and we'll get back to you soon. Meanwhile, Don and Theo, may I ask you to have a short chat with our finalists while the decision is being made about the winner. Okay, now.
Thank you, Sina. And whilst you're doing that, perhaps I'll kick off. First of all, I'm Don Ward, I'm Chief Executive of CIB. Greetings from Dubai. I'm here to attend COP28. It's been good to break off from a couple of meetings actually to join you. Apologies from the CIB president, Makrand Hastak. He's unable to be here due to the time of day. Basically, he's just returned to the United States from our board meeting at Massey University in New Zealand. So for him, it's well, what would it be? Nearly 3 a.m. in the morning. So I hope you'll understand that he wasn't able to join us. My congratulations to all the finalists today. My appreciation to you all for taking the time and the effort to enter and to present. My further appreciation to those of you who promoted your involvement through LinkedIn and other social media. LinkedIn is a really important means to present yourself these days. You know, it's used as a major tool by anybody who's going to meet with you, consider funding your research, consider employing you. LinkedIn, making sure your profile is not only bang up to date, but also full of interesting info, I think is a really important thing to do. So congratulations, as I said, for those of you who posted some great material there. I'll ask one question and then I'll let Theo ask another one. You were asked to comment on your contributions to knowledge and practice. So in no particular order, but I'll tell you what, first Samudaya and then Naomi. I'm just looking at my screen. How do you envisage that your research can be brought to the attention of policymakers and industry practitioners? Samudaya first, then yep. Naomi, and then Budini.
Okay, thank you for the question.
And then Luca.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for the question. So my research is mainly for the digitalization area in the construction sector. As previously Buddhi also mentioned about, like, it's one of the least digitalized area. So in that domain, I did my research in the blockchain area, and other novel things in the domain. Even other industries is still facing some kind of difficulty to adapt that one. However, my research contributes some kind of the novel methodology to how to adapt those kind of things, modeling techniques. Those kind of things can be adapted to the implementation process. And also these kind of the concept can utilize to mitigate the issues while adapting the digital technology in the sector. So another area, rather than the digital, because my research is more toward like a supply chain issue mitigation, blockchain can mitigate a lot of issue related to payment and the trust-like issues. So it can utilize to give a different phase to the construction supply chain issues and reduce those kind of issues.
Samudaya, thank you very much. Naomi, your thoughts on the question.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Don. I believe my research, look, I worked very closely with both employees and employers and really delved deep into how COVID-19 affected them. Obviously, it was a very common shock that was being experienced worldwide at the time. I think it really brought out that the employee employment contract is very two-sided in that there were obviously a lot of turnover happening during COVID because of the lack of support. So from an employer's point of view, they were getting a lot of insight into, okay, we need to really provide training, provide support, be there from a management perspective. And we can see a shift in, you know, increased flexibility with work and making sure that employees have work-life balance at the moment. Whereas from an employee's perspective, you know, it really brought them, you know, to understand, okay, it is their responsibility to actually go and seek training opportunities and learn how to work in this new way that we are, needing to work at the moment. But they also do need to work for an employer that is also going to respect that and offer those opportunities as well. So it really brought about that those actions do need to happen from both employee and employer for the employee to be satisfied and stay working in that organization and contribute, as well as from the employer. If they offer those policies and if they offer those opportunities to employees, then they'll obviously have very satisfied, motivated employees for their business.
Thank you much. I should stress the judges are not here, so this is just an informal conversation now. Don't worry, we're not marking you on this aspect of the discussion. Badini, how do you envisage that your research can be brought to the attention of practitioners or policymakers?
Yeah, nice to meet you again, by the way.
Good to see you.
Yeah, we can say that we started the research in 2018, and by then offsite construction or modern construction was not something that the construction regulators even was considering. But now in Australia, we have a housing crisis, the affordability crisis, and they are thinking of offsite construction or modern construction or modular construction. They are still struggling with the term, the right term, but now they are considering it that to give housing solutions in a faster way. Not really cheaper, but a faster way. To do that, they are still looking at the skills and capabilities and whether the companies that are in Australia, whether they have the capacity. So I think my research, where we looked at the skill prediction or what are the skill requirements, what are the skills that will be diminished or not needed in 5 years down the line, they are now coming into play in real time because the industry is needing so much of buildings in a faster mode, and offsite construction is a solution. And because of that reason, the research we did started 3 years ago, finished very recently, is coming into play a lot. You can see that.
Thank you. Noran, important findings about the risk of exposure to sea level rises. How do you bring this to the attention of industry and policymakers?
So basically, I would say that we actually have done sort of that through the funding that we have gone for after the PhD. So what we did was actually we approached different stakeholders. So the first stakeholder was the governor's office in Damiata, and they were actually quite open-minded to listen to research literally coming from a different country and looking at Damiata's industry from a different perspective. And in that sense, they started having communications with UNESCO Egypt. And we were part of those communications as well. And I was sort of bringing to the table the recommendations that I got from my research. And it was actually quite interesting because the different stakeholders each looked at the issue from their own angle. So for example, for the workshops, they were sort of looking at how this affects my own business, how this affects my workshop. And then for the mega project, they were looking for, we want to make big scale change, and that requires big scale development within the area. But then how to bridge that together in sort of looking at maybe logistical aspects, like bringing to the workshops what they don't have and bringing to the mega project what it doesn't have. So sort of this middle ground there. And I would be glad to say that actually the governor's office in Damiata took forward an application for Damiata to be a creative city with the UNESCO, and it was awarded. So the change is actually there. It could be done, but it needs the right evidence base. And I think this is what needs to be happening more. So sort of bringing evidence rather than theory, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes tremendous sense. Evidence-based policymaking is something that a lot of governments talk about and don't necessarily follow, exactly. I'm afraid. But yes, thank you for your comments. And Luca, what are your thoughts on the subject?
Yeah, my thoughts is that in the last year, especially from the advent of ChatGPT, the interest in artificial intelligence also in construction rised a lot. So I think the application of my metrics for companies to self-assess their readiness and also to see what are the dimensions where they need to do some improvements, like for searching talent skills or like starting a data collection policies might be very useful for them to start planning in how it's possible to introduce AI. And also for policymakers, now AI demonstrated its potential to also deal with the text data, tabular data. It was already good at it. So it's really powerful to extract information from a lot of unstructured and structured data. So I think it's really important to have an overview of what can be the value of AI, and especially in construction, it's possible to have a lot of value from different sources. And in my thesis, I try to stress that.
Thank you. Yes, and I do agree. AI has been the theme of 2023, I think, in the industry. And you know, my congratulations to Politecnico di Milano student chapter, because you won the CIB Sebastian Award a year ago to do some work on this, and a number of very, very impressive webinars resulted from that, which I commend to those watching today. Theo, the judges still aren't back with us. Would you like to ask our finalists another question?
Yeah, thanks, Don. Actually, the question that I wanted to ask was basically called, what is the next step? And I think they've all responded all pretty much to that. I do want to congratulate you all on the quality of your presentations. I doubt whether I could even produce some of what you've done in your presentations, and I'm also glad I'm not a judge. What I was just concerned about is that, you know, there's a lot of emphasis on technology and not as much focus on the human element. And I'm always asking myself, how do we bring the human element to partner with the developments and advances that we make in technology? Or ultimately, is technology going to take over the world and we just become you know, a subset of what happens elsewhere? So I think just when you're working with technology, think about how does that impact on people, and where do people actually play a role in that entire process. But I think the judges are back here, and I leave you with those thoughts.
Yes, we are back, Theo. Thank you. So, and we are ready to share the evaluation results as the time is running up. So it is a great pleasure to announce that the winner of CIB's Best Doctoral Dissertation Award 2023 is Luca Rampini from Politecnico di Milano. Congratulations, Luca.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really happy. Thank you.
Congratulations, Luca.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for participating in this event. And thank you all shortlisted applicants for presenting their dissertations. Luca, you may share your feelings with us in 1 minute, if you would like.
It's difficult because I'm really super happy. I want to thank you, all of you, for organizing such event. I want also to congratulate with my colleagues, because their work was very, very interesting to see. And I think all of the presentation that we've seen today stress the fact that there are a lot of interesting research going on in construction sector. So it's really good to see that. And also I want to thank you also my supervisor, Professor Fulvio Cecconi, because I mean, without his guide, I wouldn't make it until the end. So yes, a big thanks to everyone that I met during my path, because it's not a solitary path, the path of PhD. So if I'm here today, it's thanks to a lot of people.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Luca, for your beautiful acknowledgements. If there is any other comment or questions, we would be happy to hear. If not, yes, Dan, please.
Well, Two thoughts, if I may. The first is, having just emphasized how important LinkedIn is, I would ask that the finalists do not communicate their success until we have had an opportunity to post the result officially, and then we'd ask you to share that post as part of your own LinkedIn or other social media approach. Ira Rowe is online as an expert professional in these sort of matters, so she's asked me to make that point to you. And a question to the judges as well. I guess time has run out for you to share with us, in one sentence, why Luca stood out as the winner here. But perhaps you could send us that info if Sino doesn't already have it, because again, we'd like to put that into the reporting of the winners. But if I could echo what Sina had to say there, my congratulations to Luca, my congratulations to everybody who, as Theo says in his notes in the chat, we will track each of your early career researcher careers with huge interest. And thank you very much for your participation in our awards.
Billy, yes.
Thank you, Sina.
Yeah, a very short response to Dawn there as one of the judges. All 5 of the theses were excellent. I will be downloading copies to show my own PhD students. Luca, you stood out in a team of excellent theses as the one that was on everyone's top 3, and that was the only way we could decide which one was best, and that's why you won.
Thank you very much all for your participation, and I guess then we can conclude the event if there is not anything else to discuss. Yes, Theo, do you have? No, Theo was clapping. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.